Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hopefully, all you guys are doing wonderful. Hopefully, all you guys are well. Today is February 19th, and it is Thursday. Hopefully, all you guys are having a wonderful week so far. I myself am doing pretty solid. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. All the support would greatly appreciate it as we are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube by this summer. And if you're on Substack, please consider subscribing as well. It's $8 a month, and all funds go to me. This is a viewer-supported show, so all the support is truly greatly appreciated. And with that being said, let's get into today's episode. Hopefully, all you guys are doing amazing. Let's get into our headlines and history as we do. The headline we have for today is from February 19th of 1970, and it reads, Chicago 7 cleared of plot, 5 guilty on the second count. The 7 defendants in a conspiracy trial in Chicago were acquitted the day before plotting to incite a riot during the 1968 Democratic National Convention in the city. But 5 were convicted of seeking to promote a riot through individual acts, the Times reported. An appeals court later threw out the convictions. That, of course, is definitely interesting. That's another one I have never heard of at all. I did not know that people tried to attempt a riot during the Democratic National Convention in 1968. But hey, that sure is interesting, and maybe I'll look into that one a little bit more. Outside of that, though, we'll get into our headlines from today as we do. Moving on into the Trump administration segments, the first topic we have for today is Trump is boosting the production of cancer chemicals. Trump has signed an executive order boosting the domestic production of phosphorus and glyphosate. I can never say phosphorus. It is like one of those things that I've struggled to say, like a plethora of other words. Chemicals used in, of course, weed killers, claiming that they are critical to economic and national security. Both are used in manufacturing certain military equipment, but glyphosate is a key ingredient in the weed killer known as Roundup, which has faced tens of thousands of lawsuits due to its links to cancer and the risks that come with cancer and using the products. I didn't even know that Roundup was still around. I didn't think it was, but that is definitely interesting. I'm surprised that it has made it this long and has not been gotten rid of completely. How we haven't gotten rid of Roundup at this point to me is wild because there are far better weed killers on the market. But hey, I think the United States military can live without this extra production just fine. There's no reason why we should keep producing chemical or components to chemicals that help grow cancer and help put people at risk to cancer. It's very counterintuitive to keeping Americans healthy, right? There's no reason for us to continue to produce things like this, especially if they cause harm to Americans. Why would we be producing things like that in the first place? To me, it just seems like something that is unnecessary. In other news, Trump intends on taking out $10 billion of taxpayer dollars to fund his Board of Peace. Trump has announced that the United States will be contributing $10 billion in taxpayer dollars to his Board of Peace, claiming the amount was so small and it compared to a cost of war. Of course, Trump intends on controlling these funds for this board himself. He also claims a lot of countries are interested in joining his board, yet many countries have rejected him around the world. So when was this one voted on? Because I don't remember Congress voting to approve, $10 billion in funding to Trump's Board of Peace, nor should they. We don't need to be giving Trump any more taxpayer dollars. Why doesn't he use the money that he's already stolen from taxpayers to fund this from all of his other lawsuits? Because there's a shit ton of money in that, right? Last time I checked, it's Trump leading this, not the United States of America. So why should U.S. tax dollars be going towards this? There's no reason for that. Again, last time I checked, it's Trump leading this board. The government doesn't really have a say in this board. So why the hell is Trump using taxpayer dollars from this country to pay for it? If he is leading this board, he should be paying out of pocket. Anyways, moving on into our segment about ICE, where we have one topic here today. The Trump administration is expanding ICE's power to allow them to now be able to detain refugees. The Trump administration is moving to detain thousands of refugees in the United States indefinitely for aggressive rescreening, according to new reports. Under this new policy, the Department of Homeland Security says federal immigration agents can and should arrest anyone without permanent residence in the country, including refugees. This move is to be believed to be linked to the ongoing case in Minnesota, where refugees were being detained by ICE and a judge ruled against it. Why the hell are we targeting people that we are bringing into this country through government programs? For those of you who don't know, a majority of refugees who come into countries around the world are brought in through government programs that are established in their countries of origin, right? I did a lot of research on this for a project my senior year of high school when it came to African refugees. I read a book about it. I'm blanking on the name, but it was about these boys who came from Africa. I believe their names were Ang Dang, and I'm forgetting the name of the third one. Great book, though. If anyone remembers the book, let me know in the comments below. And should definitely read that book if you can find it. It's a wonderful read. And truly, there is no reason for this. We are bringing these people in through programs created by the United States government. Lawmakers should not allow this because if they do, it essentially creates, in a way, a death trap for every single refugee that would be in the United States already, that we have brought into this country. I mean, we have paid for them to come here. We have paid for them to, get a job, to find a place of residency, to come to this country and rebuild their life and have an opportunity, right? Yet we're going out there and detaining them and acting against something that we have already used US taxpayer dollars on, which is very counterintuitive to stopping wasteful spending. I would argue that bringing refugees into the United States is a very beneficial thing, a very important thing, not just for the culture in the United States, but for, the people, the immigration system as a whole. It is a very, very beneficial thing for these people coming to the United States, right? And for us to be detaining people that we are bringing over here, on our own dime, essentially, is truly counterintuitive to the program as a whole and really makes no sense. There is no reason for us to be going after refugees. They are here to be protected from a horrible situation and rebuild their life. And I mean, they're here legally. It's not like they're here illegally. The United States government is bringing them themselves. Like, it is so, so, so stupid. In other news, moving on into our segments about the Epstein files, this one is really interesting as no Republicans showed up to the deposition of an Epstein co-conspirator. Les Wexner, a billionaire and former client of Jeffrey Epstein, met with the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee yesterday for a deposition to which not a single Republican lawmaker showed up. Wexner claims to have no relation to Jeffrey Epstein, saying, "I completely irrevocably cut ties with Epstein nearly 20 years ago when I learned that he was an abuser, crook, and a liar. And let me be crystal clear, I never witnessed nor had any knowledge of Epstein's criminal activity." These two had a very deep friendship. That is very clear. It was on the same level as Trump and Epstein, right? Multiple lawmakers have said themselves that Epstein wouldn't have gotten to where he was if it wasn't for Wexner, which is a big deal. People don't just say that, right? There is a reason why Wexner is called a co-conspirator within these files, not to mention the man owns a woman's undergarment company. Like, come on, guys. What white straight man is going to own and run a woman's underwear company unless he's a creep? To me that just like blatantly screams creepy. If he was a gay man, look, and this is not to stereotype anyone, I am in the LGBTQ community, but if he was a gay man, it would make a lot more sense. But this man is not gay. He is a straight man, and it really just seems creepy to me to have like all these straight men own women's underwear companies. That to me just seems extremely, extremely creepy. And maybe that's just me, but like I don't get it. To me that just seems weird. Anyways, in other news, former Prince Andrew has been arrested for his Epstein relations. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former prince, has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office in relation to the Epstein files. Police were previously investigating the allegations that Epstein trafficked women for Mountbatten and claims that he shared sensitive information with Epstein. Mountbatten has denied all of these accusations, but he is yet to comment publicly on the recent ones that have come out, that are these ones. This is a big deal. It is the first of hopefully many, many arrests made for the Epstein files, right? Not to mention it's a former member of British royalty, which I'm sure will hold a lot of weight to see him behind bars. I really do hope that we can start to see some of the arrests in the United States take place, at the very least, arrests, right? Because none of these people should be allowed free. But unfortunately, I don't know if that'll be the case or not. Which is also interesting, is it's also this man's birthday, which is very, very sibling cord to see that King Charles was willing to arrest his brother on his birthday. But hey, he deserves it for being in the Epstein files, right? I mean, anyone involved in the Epstein files should go to prison for the rest of their life at the bare minimum. I think we should hang them all. And I say that literally every day. I'm going to keep saying that. Anyways, moving on into our other news segment today, the South Korean president has been convicted for insurrection and sentenced to life in prison. South Korea's former president Yoon Suk Yeol has been found guilty of trying to lead an insurrection in South Korea. The 65-year-old has been sentenced to life in prison over his botched attempt in December 2024 to start an insurrection and take over the country. Yoon still faces 2 more trials because of this failed attempt. This, of course, is good news. It's actually crazy that this attempt was over a year ago at this point. That to me is wild. It feels like it was happening really just yesterday. But, I'm glad to see that other countries in the world are prosecuting their political leaders for doing things that are very clearly against the law. I wish we could do that here in the United States too. We have an administration doing it on a daily basis. But hey, that's just unfortunately how things go in this country. It's something that we need to change, right? And something we will change in the future. Outside of this, though, good for South Korea. Congratulations to them. And of course they beat this out very instantly. They were not having this, right? And this is a big deal to hear about, and really full congratulations to them. Anyways, moving on into our final topic for tonight. This one is wild, as a Texas Republican candidate wants to deport Native Americans. A Texas Republican, Beau French, a candidate for the Texas Railroad Commission, who appears on the ballot next to Republicans like Greg Abbott, has recently come under fire again for a post that he made, in October of last year, suggesting that Native Americans should be deported. In this post he made, he wrote, "Since we are going to denaturalize and deport all third world savages who hate our country, I am calling for adding these third world savages who we conquered and bizarrely let have a nation inside our nation to the list," posting a picture of a woman flipping off Mount Rushmore. To suggest deporting groups of people that have had a plethora of things done to them by this government that are absolutely horrific is not only absurd, but disgusting on so many levels, and this man should never be allowed to hold any forms of public office. No man, whoever says anything like this, should be able to allow any position in office, right? Native Americans have the rights to live on this land and deserve it far more than a majority of Americans do. They have done or dealt with, not done, dealt with a horrendous amount of things because of the United States government, which is absolutely disgusting. Not even that, they've dealt with a horrendous amount of things even before the United States government existed, right? It is absolutely horrible what the native populations of North America and Latin America and, you know, everywhere else really around the world have unfortunately been treated. With that being said, though, thank you everyone for watching today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed. It's definitely been a very interesting day in the news world, that is for sure. If you're new here, though, please consider subscribing. All the support would be greatly appreciated, as we are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube by this summer. And if you're on Substack, please consider subscribing as well. It's $8 a month, and all funds go to me. This is a very supported show, so all the support is greatly appreciated. I want to thank our 2 paid subscribers in Sean Zone and Nan. Thank you so much for being a subscriber. It truly does mean the world to me. With that being said, drop a subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And when we do hit 1,000 subscribers, I will release the new show, Talking to My Generation, which I will be recording the first episode of on this Sunday. So drop a subscribe if you're interested in that. And with that being said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next episode.